So with and Phocuswright, we created the Bridge series as in early 2022. So thanks to the pandemic, we learned to work together as well. And it's a joint initiative to look at global issues. And so we've put together this wonderful global panel to exchange ideas, perspectives, and solutions from across the world.
And so far within the Bridge series, we've covered the great talent crunch, how product has taken center stage as we recover from the pandemic, and what are those big tech trends that are taking our industry through the next 3 to 5 years. And today we're fortunate enough to have leaders from 4 OTAs that are focused on individual regions.
So 3 of these businesses were founded during the early days of the internet, so some are older than others, prior to the dot-com bust. But Caesar, you're the new kid on the block, right? From Traveloka, you are a young, preteen, 10-year-old business, and you have truly blazed the trail in Indonesia, watching you. So you changed the way flights are booked in Indonesia, the world's 4th most populous nation of 275 million people. And you changed the way people pay, most importantly. And so let's dive straight into how you had to change the way people pay before they could even book flights.
Thanks. I'm new kid on the block, and I was just telling Brett that I grew up with Priceline, and I know the brand very well. When we started the business, Indonesia was there was no digital commerce at all, so payment was very big challenge. Credit card penetration was very low, below 5%, and the most common payment method was bank-to-bank transfer. But at the same time, travel was booming. So it's driven by the expansion of capacity in low-cost carrier in Indonesia. So we had to really solve the basic problem of making payment. And at the beginning, we allow customer to transfer to our bank account, but it was very manual, right? So scaling it was a challenge. Once the transaction went above 100, it was becoming a problem. So we developed a tech solution to be able to scale up that bank-to-bank transfer. And then we used the same approach, not only in Indonesia. When we went to market like Thailand, we localized our approach, offer a local payment method like convenience stores like 7-Eleven, or Vietnam, we work with the e-money player locally. And today we have about more than 30 payment methods across Southeast Asia region.
Okay.
So let's look at how each of you has kind of blazed the trail. So maybe Brett, we'll start with you. So Priceline was the original trailblazer of the name your own price model, and obviously opaque. And you've evolved into more of kind of a pure play OTA, although you're still kind of prioritizing express deals and really surfacing that first. So can you kind of talk through the evolution of Priceline, and maybe how do you differentiate yourself from some of the competition in the market?
Sure, yeah.
And we can queue up the Priceline webpage and kind of flip through it.
Yeah, so listen, Priceline was founded in 1997, actually launched in 98. So we've been around a very long time. Our 25-year anniversary is next year. And it was built on the back of a set of patents, business patents, that were intended to be a reverse auction. So it was really an auction format. And we were not launched as a travel service. We were meant to basically sell every product and service you could think of. In fact, in the year 2000, if you came to the Priceline website, you would see flights, hotels, and rental cars, but you'd also find things like insurance, new cars, gasoline, groceries, used products. All of these things were available to the consumer. And Name Your Own Price was a massive hit with consumers because of the amount of savings, but it really played well with travel. And so as we came out of 9/11 and the tech bubble bursting in 2002, that's when everything kind of fell apart. We reground ourselves back down to travel and really rode the Name Your Own Price wave for another 10 years. But when mobile launched, we realized that consumers were just not going to take the time that it required to go through that process. And so we then quickly expanded into retail services. And so today, when you look at what Booking Holdings brings to bear, Priceline has the inventory across the entire group on our platform. So we start there, but then we layer in some very unique products and services like price breakers, like express deals, which still have that opacity that came from name your own price, but that deliver really great value to consumers. And then we built on top of that a really strong packaging product and some other special sauce that we put in that really differentiates us from the other OTAs in the space. So our roots are still founded in that desire and drive to bring the best deals to the consumer.
Well, quite a journey, right? From 1997, and then this is a 10-year-old kid. Let's go to Despaga, and you've really been a leader in this market. You've blazed the trail in Latin America. So maybe name one way in which you've blazed the trail in that market.
Well, originally it's not very different story. It's just putting the offer in a convenient way in front of the consumer. That was basically it. No? And being able to process a payment was as easy as that. For many years, that was a huge value added from where the industry was. But as others mentioned, we had to continue adding value to remain relevant and attractive for the consumers. And then it becomes how you pay, how you finance, how you tailor or customize your offer to make it relevant for the consumer.
Right. So how do you continue to dominate that market given the competition is really coming up? You know, is it by sheer size?
Certainly size is a relevant factor in our industry, but it's not sustainable as a standalone basis. You have to continue adding features and services to make you different from a lot, I would say, a growing number of competitors.
All right.
So Matthias, let's journey to Europe. You run eTraveli, which is a global flight platform, as well as an air tech company. So maybe share one way that you blazed a trail and managed to go on to build an empire that includes direct-to-consumer, an OTA, a meta search, as well as you're providing tech to players such as Booking.com, Google Flights. So can you talk us through whether you have to be a titan to play with titans, or can you play both sides of the fence?
Well, first, I think we still consider ourselves as a trailblazer rather than a titan, but we're in the beginning of that transition, possibly. And I think growing up, I think as a leader, that is probably one of your most important tasks, to balance the need for speed and everything that has made you successful to come here, and growing up and bringing the processes you need when you become bigger, right? But in the way we pioneered something, I would say that contrary to all of the rest of the panel, we didn't build the brand. Instead, we realized that for us it's all about focus, and we focused totally on flights. And when we did that, we wanted to do it with a global mindset from the start, and really do it taking things seriously around flights. And we had to take payments seriously. We had to take air content extremely seriously. And doing that very cumbersome job to do that on a global scale. So yes, we are Europeans, but we're definitely getting into the other regions as well. And many of our biggest markets right now is non-Europeans.
So Hoon, I think we're hearing payments a few times on stage. So this is starting to be a bit of a theme between the four different.
Definitely, and also the theme of Mathias was saying that he's more of a trailblazer rather than a titan, but moving into titan in maybe a few months, we think. So so I moved back to Caesar, and so I just want to give some context about Traveloka. Traveloka, Indonesia brand, 80 to 90% of your business is domestic, but you scaled across Southeast Asia, and you've taken this model into markets such as Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia, right? And so you really want to go deep versus broad. Do you think that makes it harder to become a titan? Because that deeper might be harder to become a titan.
I think it really depends on how you look at it. I think we really believe in our strategy since the beginning, using a very local strategy. It has been successful in building our brand, as well as being able to build a seamless and connected travel experience to our customers, being able to build a strong pipe with our suppliers, and And as a result, customers really have a strong brand loyalty on Traveloka across these 6 markets. And as a result, we also have a high engagement in our app. Today, we have about 40 million active users using our app, and 40 million monthly active users, and that's about the size of Canada population. So yeah,
just to put it in context. All right. So I want to come on this point of Trailblazer going to Titan, right? Because you've taken in quite a bit of funding. You've just taken in 300 million from a new sovereign wealth fund in Indonesia, and you have an undisclosed sum from Thailand's leading oil and gas company. So for these investors, how do you convince them that Trailblazer is better than Titan? Because they might actually want you to be a Titan faster. Sure.
You know, funnily enough, a lot of these investors are loyal customers of Traveloka, so they can relate as a user. But you know, they truly believe in our strategy as well as our capability to execute. And we've been able to weather the most challenging environment, such as the pandemic. And other than that, they also believe in the potential of Southeast Asia region. You know, Southeast Asia is home to 660 million people, and that's about 9% of the world's population. About 60% of that, they are young population with average age of 27 million people. So, and these are customers who are, you know, who are very excited with high propensity towards consumption. Okay. And the middle class is also quite strong. 200 million middle class and 80 million are Indonesians. So there's such a strong potential in the region in travel, and we truly believe in our strategy, and we want to focus on capturing this opportunity.
Can I ask one question?
Absolutely, Brad.
So, I mean, we know a bit about Southeast Asia in the Booking Holdings group, and you know what I understand is that it's exceptionally aggressive in terms of price discounting, to the point where most of the players in the space, you know, operate at negative margins with the intention of, you know, scaling and trying to grow a business. I assume the pandemic changed that. How are you operating today versus, you know, a couple of years ago?
Right. So the pandemic travel, I mean, there was almost no travel, right? So during the pandemic, our focus was building a strong engagement in our platform. And that's why we started to introduce a lot of products, including COVID testing, finding COVID testing nearby, and customers can book tests for COVID. But going back to after the pandemic, when travel is back, we really going back to focus on travel, making sure that we don't spend resources on unnecessary product, and really focusing on travel that helps us keep our leadership in the area, and remaining staying within protecting our bottom line. Yeah.
I like the fact that, you know, if you feel free to ask each other questions, really, you know, then we can sit back and relax.
Where did you get that great blue jacket? That's
online.
So there's clearly some local differences in how each of you operate in your own models, but there's also super competition coming into the market, both from traditional travel players as well as from non-travel players. So Soo-Hoon, should we ask the audience what they think?
Yeah, so, you know, in South Korea, we have Naver and Kakao, you know, getting deeper in travel. PTTR, which is in Thailand, an investor, they are also investing in travel. Traveloka, Capital One, investing in Hopper Tech. So if you think that these non-traditional travel players who are jumping into travel are a friend, clap. Are they enemies? Clap louder if you think they are. So do you think they're friends?
They're friendly.
What do you think? Are they friendly or foes?
From my perspective, I see them as friends. I see this as a great opportunity, because with us, we have that back-end position. And when it's coming new players that are interested, doing flights, what we do globally, is so difficult. And for us, it's just more opportunities.
You want to be friends with them, right? So you can provide air tech to them.
Exactly.
Yes. Damian, how about in Latin America?
Yeah, I share the same perspective.
Friends? Okay.
Yeah.
But, okay, so who do you think is your most serious, worthy competitor? Who do you watch out for?
Latin America is a very peculiar market. You have different set of competitors. You have even a relevant presence of the traditional, old, offline travel
Which
agencies.
one makes you the most worried at night?
I would say the global players,
The global players.
the global integrated players.
Okay. So maybe we ask the other three. Pete, let's ask Brett.
Who am
Brett,
I?
who's your most serious competitor?
I mean, we're here in the U.S. Everybody wants a piece of travel. Clearly, Expedia is a fantastic business.
Booking.com?
Airbnb is a fantastic. No, of course not. Those are our close family and friends. Actually, you know, we cooperate a lot within the group, and I think that's made Priceline more successful to have that cooperation here in the U.S. So it's been very beneficial to us as a brand.
Caesar?
I really think, our stakeholders are our partners, actually. In fact, we actually partner with our peers globally. I think the travel industry is very complex, and even though you have competition, but you certainly need each other, and you can actually work together, find a space to work together. Yeah.
Very polite. Matthias?
Yeah, I would say that in Europe, I feel very confident. We're going to take market share because of our cooperation with Booking.com that are scaling rapidly. So together, eTravel and Booking.com is going to take a lot of market share in Europe. So, but I look at these guys as very worthy competitors outside of Europe, together with other companies, when we are globally rolling that out.
I mean, this is an industry where everybody works together. I mean, literally. If you look under the hood, if you haven't been in the industry long, everybody's trading inventory and content with literally everybody. I've seen a hotel leave our back end and work through 3 or 4 different parties before it's sold. I'm not sure how they're making money by the time it gets to the 4th or 5th chain, but it happens all the time here.
Is that something that needs to change?
I don't think so. I think that creates competition, which is good for consumers, and certainly our governments enjoy that. So.
Okay.
So let's shift to acquisition. So Brett, Priceline acquired a relatively small hotel booking site in Amsterdam for $133 million back in, what, the early 2000s.
Yeah, 2005.
How's that one working out?
I'd love to say that was all my idea. I was there though. I remember making a visit out to the Booking.com headquarters and going through the due diligence process, reviewing the product and the service, and they were just very, very smart, highly focused people. Now, what may not also be known is within the few months prior to that, we also acquired Active Hotels, which was another European hotel business, very similar to Booking.com. One covered Western Europe, one covered Eastern Europe. Booking.com was so aggressive, they basically ate the management team up within the first year, renamed the whole thing Booking.com, and that was supposed to be Priceline's, European strategy. But they were so successful at a couple of things, right? An agency model, singularly focused, one product, and extremely good at performance marketing. And so rode that around the entire world. And now, we have a $70 billion market cap, and that was probably the greatest travel acquisition in the history of time.
So how about more recently? How about, you recently acquired Getaroom. And obviously that, kind of supported your B2B strategy. So can you talk a little bit about that and kind of where that fits as you think about your consumer brand as well as your B2B brand?
Yeah, that's exactly how we think about it internally, right? That if you look at the travel ecosystem, the OTAs always get a lot of light because of the size and scale of the OTAs, and then there's a lot of direct to supplier. But most of the business that's taking place in the industry is going through somebody else, right? It's going through banks, it's going through clubs, it's going through all of these discount programs, and someone has to go out and aggregate the inventory and provide the inventory to these services. They don't have the ability to do that themselves. And so as an OTA player, we have our brand, which we invest a lot in, but we also invest a lot in our B2B space. And here in the US in particular, it's hugely important. I mean, there's tens of billions of dollars of TTV here in the US running through this B2B space. And so Getaroom, we brought that in, combined that with our existing B2B business. They brought great tech, really serious people, And I think that, for us, that was really a nice, I think, entryway into a bigger business.
Yeah, it's interesting about this B2B shift, right? I mean, Expedia definitely doubling down on B2B in APAC, particularly that business grew during the pandemic. We heard Frederick talk about Hopper, 40% of their business. So let's move to Traveloka, right? I mean, so as I said, you've raised a healthy amount. But your DNA has always been to build your own, right? You see a problem like buses in Indonesia and you build your own product. You see a problem with payment, you build your own product. But now that you have the funds, do you think that you use it to actually acquire, or will you continue building your own?
Well, we will continue to build, right? I think that will still go on. I think our priority is really how we can build a seamless end-to-end experience and present the most competitive and comprehensive travel products to our customers. And Southeast Asia itself, I think, what we want is we really go deeper and be able to serve segments that are underpenetrated that we haven't served today. And whether, of course, priority would be continue to build capability in the area, but we will be in the lookout for opportunity coming to us.
Okay. Mathias, how about you? So you acquired TripStack back in 2019 to strengthen your flight search capabilities. So I see a trend here of acquiring businesses to help fortify B2B. If you were starting a travel company today, would you start a B2B company or a B2C company?
Yeah, so first, very happy with the TripStack acquisition. They're sitting in the audience.
I see them right
now.
now.
They might not become Booking.com, but no, they have a fantastic, especially the self-connect product. I would probably go B2B. I think it's difficult today to launch B2C, especially because you want to have scale and you want to go global. We're coming from a small country, Sweden, and we always have to think globally because the market is too small. But that's a positive with that, because it means that you have to, from the beginning, adapt to and do complex things, and you're not rewarded by just serving your own market. But to go B2C on a global scale, you need a really rich wallet. So I would go B2B if I was an entrepreneur.
So let's ask Damian the same question, right? If you were to start something today, B2B or B2C?
I agree with the B2B approach.
B2B.
These days, yeah, these days. Not at the moment we started. I mean, one of our most recent acquisitions, Best Day in Mexico, we focus a lot and we value significantly the B2B business.
Okay, right. So now let's talk about payments, right? And that seems to be a hot topic. And Caesar, we saw that digital payments will account for 91% of e-commerce transactions in Southeast Asia by 2025. Digital wallets, huge adoption during the pandemic. How are you preparing for that future? Do you see was it Robert who was talking about this Starbucks model where you keep a lot of, so you are a bank basically?
No, we were born in the world where no digital payment available, and we help accelerate the adoption of digital payment and grow the pie of digital commerce. And we will continue doing that by investing in payment infrastructure, and just to support our core travel business. And yes, we will continue doing that. Maybe just to give you an example, one of the issue in Indonesia was this underbanked segment, right? Credit card penetration is below 6%, and there are a lot of customers who still pay in cash, bank-to-bank transfer. And 5 years ago, we realized that they actually are, they have good income and they actually can afford credit. But the issue was there's a lack of structured data about customer in the industry, and hence bank cannot offer them loan. So we developed this buy now, pay later to be able to help them afford travel. And by doing that, that led to the customers not overpaying because they booked over last minute, or losing rooms or flight tickets.
So buy now, pay later, about 10% of your transactions now, or 6%?
Still below 10%, but it's getting
What
popular.
about you, Damian? What are you seeing?
Well, in the history of Despegar, affordability. And when you mean affordability in Latin America, it's not only price points, but your ability to finance your holiday was key. Traditionally, it was through credit cards, paid in installment. But 2 years ago, or slightly more, we bought Coin, which is one of the leading Brazilian buy now, pay later operations. We've been working with them for like 4 years in advance. They work very well, and we're extremely happy with the results. Extremely happy. Penetration is around 9%. When we
9%.
check the profile and the type of customers they bring a different set of customers that they wouldn't buy in the Spegar or the Collar without that option. And we're even transporting that into other verticals. We are starting to sell the buy now, pay later services to other verticals with huge success. That's part of combining the Titan/Trailblazer approach. You have to be innovative and put in front of the client new reasons to buy from you and take advantage of those capabilities and even scale them beyond travel.
Yeah, I mean, there are some companies in Asia now that are offering, like, you buy, but you save first, and they actually keep your money for you before you actually consume the travel. So there's sort of interesting innovation experiments going on. Shall we move to some rapid fire topics?
Let's do.
Yeah.
So we're gonna shift to some rapid fire topics. So we're gonna ask the audience to vote on a couple of trends, and we're gonna see how we do here. So the first one is subscription. So clap if you believe in the subscription model for OTAs.
You can clap too.
Clap if you don't believe in the subscription model for OTAs.
Okay.
How about thumbs up, thumbs down from the panel? Subscription models?
Okay, all down, okay. That's very clear. I like consensus on this topic.
Yes.
Okay. Next topic, I think, is sustainability, right? Can OTAs truly, I'm asking it in a very cynical voice, can OTAs help travelers make more sustainable choices? So clap if you believe they can really help travelers make more sustainable choices.
I'd love to see the optimism.
Clap if you don't believe they can help travelers. Okay, so we have more believers. What do you think? What are you doing to help travelers make more sustainable choices in a concrete way?
Yeah, I think in booking holdings, we're beginning to roll out sustainability flags with other information tied to individual properties so that they can make decisions. Whether consumers want to use that or not, to be seen.
Caesar?
Yeah,
I just want to bring up a point because Caesar was telling me that he was absolutely surprised by how fast this trend came to Southeast Asia because we never thought that it would come until you had a survey, right?
Yeah, so after the pandemic, we did a survey to our customers, and surprisingly, not just Indonesian customers, more than 50%, they're actually willing to pay premium for accommodation that or travel products that operate more sustainably. I think I truly believe in the capability of any travel player with the power to aggregate demand and hence being able to educate the customers, empower the customers, give them choice, and also at the same time work with the suppliers to really educate them and influence them to be able to operate better towards sustainability.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that? Because, do you really think, why should travelers have to pay more for sustainable choices? If anything, they should pay less, right? Because they are actually making good choices.
Yeah, but it's more expensive to provide the service, so of course they're going to pay more. We've even offered consumers an opportunity to offset carbon credits and pay for it. They wouldn't do that. So we had to remove it from the site. No one used it.
Right, because we had a discussion around, if a hotel could have data or the ability to measure how much water a certain traveler uses, and if you use less water, you pay less, or we give you a voucher for a spa, like you incentivize people to use. I mean, that was a model that was discussed if you use data around in the room, right? Okay, all right,
yeah,
let's move on.
Next one.
So let's shift to Web3. So NFT, blockchain, metaverse. Will the next big thing shake Titans and excite Trailblazers? Audience, clap if you believe Web3, NFT, blockchain, metaverse will be the next big thing to shake Titans and excite Trailblazers. Clap if you don't believe.
More of the non-believers. Mary was pretty a big believer in that, right? Mary.
Some strong believers, but more non-believers, I think is what we're hearing.
Anybody?
I believe that some of them, there are a lot of things in your questions. Some of those technologies, I think, in due time, will be relevant. I'm a firm believer in NFTs for air tickets, for example, and that will. There's a genuine consumer demand for that fungibility. There's an economic model that can be built around that, to be seen whether airlines will profit from them, marketplaces will profit from them. But again, to be seen, I'm optimistic about that.
So you're going to be the trailblazer in that regard then?
Not necessarily now, but certainly in the future. Yeah?
Mathias, how about you?
Yeah, but I think focus is important and choose not to be first in certain. I mean, it's so easy to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and everything has an alternative cost. And if any of these things really become something, which I'm not ruling out as a possibility, you might not need to be first. You might be able to be second or third. Now I would focus more on simple stuff and be more pragmatic.
That's exactly why I say I'm not going to be the trailblazer first.
Let somebody go first. Yes. Let somebody go first.
Yeah. Make all the mistakes and then...
Okay, where are we now? Okay, sorry. Let's think about the growth opportunity, okay, across sectors, because we heard in the last panel the blurring of lines. Although you say we must focus, but everybody's kind of doing a little bit of everything, right? So scale of 1 to 10, how excited you are about the sectors, right? Future flights.
8.
Yeah, 9. We're investing a lot in that product.
Yeah, 9.
9?
Is it a 10 for you?
Of course.
What can I answer?
15?
15.
How about hotels?
Somebody else does it better than we will ever do.
10.
Definitely a 10.
Yeah.
Okay, alternative accommodation.
What's that again?
Alternative accommodation.
I would say a 9.
9.
For me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 10 too. I just would like to be a bigger 10, so.
Likewise, 10.
Yeah, 10.
How about tours and activities?
It's an interesting space. It's interesting to see what happens there, and it is clearly something that is still, to a high degree, offline. So there is room for those companies that are fighting to get there. So I give it 8.
I'll give it a 6.
6?
Yeah, I'm at a 6 level.
All right, explain the 6.
You go
Just
first.
too fragmented, too difficult to bring online, not a big enough.
I just don't think it's a big enough category to get people excited to build it and book it real time. And everybody's selling it and participating in it, including ourselves. But I think it will be used more in the future as probably a loyalty product or an add-on that can be used to benefit the true transaction that gets you there.
Well, Traveloka was pretty big on that pre-pandemic, right?
We've been, yeah. I mean, the category, we call it experience. Actually, it's quite a wide range categories, from activities to tours. Within tours, there's multi-day tours, and there's like a day tour. I mean, it's quite a wide spectrum of products, and that's why selling it's quite complex, not very easy.
Right.
But we are pretty good in the local activities, or including like going to salon or spas. You can, our local customers can actually buy it in our app.
I won't throw in food delivery because you stopped that.
Yeah.
What about you? Tours and activities. How excited?
No, a very similar approach. It's good promise, but still very difficult to execute in a.
So 5?
Yes.
Okay. Fintech.
we're very excited about our fraud, payments, financing. So for us, it's 10.
Okay.
Same.
10?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
10?
clear 10.
All, everybody 10, okay. What else are you excited about that we haven't mentioned? Name one thing that you're excited about that we haven't mentioned.
I'm very excited about the new trends in terms of consumer demand. This combination of work, travel, can open a lot of new opportunities for us.
Okay, he just answered our next question, which is like the one change in customer behavior that will influence the new world of travel. What about you?
I mean, we've invested a lot and are very interested in how packaging works, not the old school packaging, but really dynamic, where you can literally drop anything in a basket, go away, come back, it's instantly repriced. That just doesn't exist in the space
That
anywhere.
would be so cool, right? To be
It
able
will be.
to buy something like, I bought this jacket, was so easy, right?
Yeah.
Packaging.
It's about, excited about sustainability topics for us. We've been trying to work with organizations like Global Sustainable Tourism Council to be able to facilitate certification to hotels. I mean, this is a new area, but something that we are quite excited about.
Right, and you're actually launching a sustainable badge as well. I mean, similar.
Certification for certified hotels. We will show it to the customers.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a simple guy. So I would say that the thing that needs to get a lot of attention is the customer experience of buying travel products, and especially flights. It was so clear during the pandemic how broken the whole infrastructure is. We knew that before, but it was so evident. And I think for us, we realized that we need to spend a lot of time on automation and just the whole post-booking experience. It's not very exciting, but I do think that is key to focus on that the next 5 years.
So to that point, we've talked about personalization, I think, for 15 years, Hoon, and we've talked about it at this conference as well. So maybe think about what a big problem is in this industry that hasn't been solved. Is personalization on that list? Are you optimistic that we'll see some gains in that category here over the course of the next few years?
It's not going to come from us. Others might invest in that. I think personalization, when you're at such a scale that many of us are already, you need to find solutions that are very scalable. And if you create personalization, you might get a notion of doing something right, but you need to get the basics right. And unfortunately, within flights, the basics are not right. So if you try to do something superficial on top to personalize, rather than fixing the basic, that you actually can rebook your ticket or get the schedule change information right, or these very basic things, then that is very superficial when the basics not.
But I'd be curious to hear your view on sharing your statement about the pandemia, very bad reaction of the industry as a whole, the lack of coordination, and we are a portion of the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
How do you see our ability or your ability to really make a difference without the alignment of coordination of the other members of that ecosystem? Yeah. We are extremely frustrated.
Super good question, because we won't be able to solve it alone, of course, not even close. And we are reaching out to part of the ecosystem to solve that together. But even when we reach out to the big GDSs and maybe we invest in tech there and do something really good, we're not going to solve the whole problem, because it's more players in the ecosystem. But the improvement we're going to make is going to be substantial, and it's going to be very important.
So, I mean, it's interesting because Brett said that this industry is so used to working together all the time, right? So why can't we work together to solve this basic problem of fixing the flight infrastructure?
We're too busy building our own businesses.
Yeah.
Too much to do.
All right.
Really.
So should we finish with
Yes.
a couple of games, Hoon? So
Yes.
let's play a game of this or that. So Damian, Booking or Expedia?
I have a partner. Loyalty is high on my values. So sorry.
We're starting with the easy question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Matthias, Lufthansa or Wizz Air?
Oh, both. Sorry.
Caesar, Klook, or Get Your Guide?
Don't say both.
Klook, because it's relevant to our users. Southeast Asian, yes.
Okay. Brett, Fogel or Hefner?
Fogel or Hafner? Another easy one, and I won't answer that one.
Okay, so finally, since the theme is Travelers, Titans, and Trailblazers, and we've spoken to you about being Titans and Trailblazers, now we're going to talk to you about travelers, as travelers, right? So Damian, beach or mountain?
Beach.
Matthias, a lodge or villa?
Lodge or villa?
Yeah, or villa, not villain, villa. Villa, a luxury villa.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Caesar, ryokan or boutique hotel?
Ryokan.
Okay, Brett, Africa or Asia?
Ooh, Asia.
Pete, snow or sand?
Oh, snow. That's where I'm going tomorrow, up into the snow. How about you, Hoon? Snow or sand?
Sand. It's freezing here. And there's no snow. So thank you so much for the attention to our travelers, Titans, and Trailblazers, Matthias, Caesar, Brett, and Damian, and Pete. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.